just, I feel lucky that you're in my life. Thank you for being you. The astonishment that the comment was met with was really interesting because it's like, because nobody says that. Nobody relates to people anymore and says, you know what? This is someone who's really important to me. I'm lucky they're in my life. Let me tell them that. And you can relate to people on that. And also, when you're not getting along with folks, I heard a great line on a sitcom last night. It says, the character said, for everything to work, we need to get used to sharing things we love with people we don't agree with. And then the character went on to say, I do that every April 15th.
Yeah. Yeah, we send out those positive notices to people every April 1st. I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, basically, if you can develop a positive routine every day, a positive morning routine and a positive evening routine, both based upon gratitude, and just look around and see what you got going well for yourself. Keep a gratitude journal, write things down. I like to post pictures, and I have calendars for the last 4 years, which I make myself that have family pictures on it, and they're staring me in the face every minute of the day. There's things you can do to make you realize all the great things that you got going on in your life. And once you start thinking gratitude, negativity is never going to go away, but gratitude overpowers negativity every single time, because that is the constant. And negativity is going to go away in the form of it's history, it's done, can't do anything about it, or the future hasn't happened yet. But gratitude, it's an ongoing thing where you can always see something that you're grateful for in this moment and think about that. Again, easier said than done. And you're going to have your up days and your down days. But if you can start your morning routine with some positive gratitude things that you do, could be reading, could be writing a little gratitude journal, could be writing somebody a note like you're talking about. It does not include going to social media and listening to the news and exposing yourself to these outside influences that are society standards. And then before you go to bed at night, the same thing. What are you grateful for today? Think about something positive to look forward to tomorrow and go to sleep thinking about that. And you'll find that you are going to find yourself trending towards being happy a lot more often than you were before. And it definitely works. I mean, this is something that I've worked on for many years. I've discovered it through personal development work, which is what you folks out there should be doing too. Reading books and magazines and listening to audible programs and so on and so forth that have positive things in it. That's what you become, what you expose yourself to predominantly. And if you can do that, then the negative stuff priority wise all of a sudden won't be as high and affect you as much, because you will begin to realize what this whole world is really, really all about, and what each of us individually, most importantly, are all about, where we came from, how we are connected. And that's it. Again, close your eyes for a day, stop listening to everybody for a day, and just get back to our core.
And, the one thing in all of that, what you just said, that's really important, and I think we should talk about a little bit, is you said it's easier said than done. And it is. But for some reason, people seem to think this is just something that should happen. And I've talked to a number of recruiters, I've spoken to a number of people who are hiring for jobs, and they've all said the same thing. People come in, they get the job, and then they decide, well, you know what? This isn't really what I wanted. I'm not fulfilled. And we're talking about after only a few weeks. We're not talking about, putting in a couple of years at a job. And then they quit. And I had a conversation with some podcasters, and we were talking about the fact that the same thing happens in relationships. It's, well, this person isn't doing everything that, I need to make me happy. I'm just going to call it quits. Well, are you doing what's necessary to make them happy? Are you putting in the work at your job to make yourself successful? Are you putting the work into relationships to make yourself happy, to make your partner happy? This is something that needs work. And people have known this for generations, but for some reason, over the last several years, it seems to be falling by the wayside. Everybody expects to get the award for participation just for showing up. And life doesn't work that way. You need to put in the effort. And it's not so much about making yourself happy, because if you work to make somebody else happy, you'll be amazed at how much that affects you. We talk a lot about the law of attraction, but I like to refer to it also as the law of reflection. Because if you're making somebody else happy, you're going to be happier. If you're working to make your job a success, your company a success, you're going to be more successful. What you put out comes back. It's a reflection, but you have to put in the effort.
Yeah, you have to work on the person in the mirror. And again, I mean, those of you who know me hear my formula all the time, but living a 4-piece purpose, passion, positivity, and a personal plan is the formula for happiness and success. And that personal plan is so, so important. And if it's influenced by positivity, that's great. And basically, very easily, the way to do this is to just sit down with a piece of paper and write down all your likes, different things that you're good at, and so on and so forth. And by the way, do this with your spouse, or do this with your kids, or do this with other people, and so on and so forth. And when you're looking for a profession and so on and so forth, what you're doing has got to be a fulfillment of that. What you're going to come up with by looking at all these things and what virtues and beliefs and so on and so forth you have is you're going to come up with what you think your purpose in life is. And just as you said, in some way it is to make the world a better place and make other people happy. Because the bottom line is that's what makes us happy too. And if you can work on that, that is really, really the most important thing. And you have to do this for every facet of your life as far as the strategic plan goes. And start with different things as far as how you're going to serve people. Look at things that you like to do, like your free time, your hobbies, interests, and so on and so forth. Obviously, professional things you're interested in, that kind of thing. But put it down on paper and come up with a strategic plan on how you are going to achieve it. Obviously, what you're doing professionally is going to help you out for doing that. But what you're doing professionally should be a function of what you really want to do too. So that's a really, really good starting point. And don't go it alone. Work with the people that you know and love, or get into groups with other people and mastermind around this. And it's just so important to do. And once you start doing that, that'll start becoming a habit, just like exposing yourself to social media and this and that, whatever. And if you can put in that personal time every day to work on yourself, you will see yourself change.
Right. Now, I want to talk a little bit about expectations, because this is where a lot of people get thrown asunder and go down the wrong alley. Is they've got expectations that are simply unrealistic. And it can start with, well, if I get XYZ, then I'll be happy. And I've seen this, if this happens, then I'll be happy. If this happens, then I'll be happy. And they expect everything to come out of that one accomplishment, that one thing. And it affects every part of lives. Even I'm going to get slightly political, but not really. I've heard a lot of people go, well, if we can get these people elected, then everything will be better. It's like, and I've heard people say this when they actually have no idea about what the position is. They'll go, well, if we get this person into the presidency, this will be, and what they're talking about has nothing to do with who's president. Having these unrealistic expectations it's setting you down the wrong road. You need to be realistic about what life is. And it's not all jelly beans and rainbows. It's hard work. It's getting things done that you want to get done, but also things that have to be done that maybe you don't enjoy. For generations, folks went to work not because they loved the job they were doing, but because they loved their family and they wanted to be able to provide for it. So, expecting your job to provide you all the fulfillment you need, expecting your spouse to do everything that's going to make you happy, these are just unrealistic expectations. And the fact of the matter is, these expectations come from you. You're generating these expectations and setting yourself up for a fall when they're impossible to meet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, when you're talking about, okay, if this person gets elected or this and that, whatever, we will all be better. And that's the reverse formula. Every single we starts with I.
Yep.
And all you control is that person in the mirror, plain and simple. And so that's the most important thing. I mean, every single present moment, every interaction you have with a person, you have the ability to influence them just by being you. It's all about being. It's not about talking. Basically, Schweitzer said, in influence, example is not the main thing in influencing people. It is the only thing. People want to see you doing things and so on and so forth. And once you're doing things, then you all of a sudden become a positive influence in their life. And people will start walking up to you and asking, okay, why are you happy? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Then they're going to want information from you instead of you going into somebody, and grandma's, you got to take off that shirt saying you're entitled to my opinion. But when you're ready for it and you're being influenced positively by somebody, you're going to say, I want more of that. I want more of what they are. And that's when people will start gravitating to you. And it's all in the way that you carry yourself. And that is your choice, minute by minute.
And bringing this full circle, having these unrealistic expectations goes back to the fact that where we started, that you haven't defined what happiness and what success means to you. And expecting happiness to come from some external point, expecting success to come from some external point, shows that you haven't really thought about it. Because to be really happy, to be really successful, it's got to come from inside you. And you need to identify that and figure that out for yourself before it will ever happen. I'm sure most of our listeners are probably familiar with the movie City Slickers. And there's a line in the movie where Jack Palance gives Billy Crystal the secret to life. And he says, it's one thing. And Billy Crystal says, well, what's that one thing? And Jack Palance says, well, that's what you have to figure out. And that's what it really is. It's, happiness has a different definition for everybody. Success has a different definition for everybody. If you don't figure out what it is, you'll never achieve it.
Absolutely.
So we are just about at the end of our time. So Chip, what do you think is a big takeaway for our listeners this week?
Use the formula before. Jack Canfield's success principle number 1. Take 100% control of your life. The formula for life is the present moment. And every single present moment has an event which you respond to, which determines the outcome. The only thing that we own is our response. And if we can respond positively to life's events, which includes being silent when you have to be silent, then what you are doing is you are providing happy moments for other people by doing that. And by providing happy moments to other people, you're going to be happy too, because that's going to be coming back to you, because you're going to feel happy doing it and seeing their happy response too. So the present moment, if you keep yourself under control, 2 ears, 1 mouth, use it proportionally, and so on and so forth, and just pause before you respond to somebody. Again, reactions, you will always have feelings that are negative, but your response is your action, and that's the most important thing. So plan on going a day or a week or whatever to consciously work on positive responses and watch the magic happen.
Excellent point. Yeah, I think for me, the big takeaway is that, you know, if you're looking externally for happiness and if you're looking externally for success, you're looking in the wrong place. You have to look within yourself. Everything we accomplish,